This is a ZAP spell, and because its use can be underrated, we are going to cover a different ZAP spell attack strategy every day for the next week. Today we're going to begin with the Super Valkyrie Smash attack, and in theory this should work because the rage ability of the Super Valkyries will support the rest of the troops, but ultimately support the healing ability of the healers. And for the first attack we're going to use the Yeti Blimp to see if it has some sort of advantage, but I have a feeling the Siege Barracks or Flamethrower would be a better option. We're going to begin with a Warden Walk, and we're only going to use 3 healers since we're going to save the other 2 for a better healer transfer for the rest of the troops. We're going to deploy 2 Cocoa Loons to test for Seeking Air Mines, as well as tank for the Yeti Blimp, which in this case we're going to aim for that scatter shot if possible. Now that the Grand Warden has cut the funnel, to save time we're going to deploy the Archer Queen, and we're going to pre-break this wall, and we're going to zap break this scatter shot, multi, and expo, which by the way is very good zap value, which will be done with 1 Quake spell and 6 lightning spells. And now because we did not bring a poison spell, we're going to freeze the enemy CC. We'll funnel with this baby dragon, and we're going to pre-break this wall down in this bottom corner, which you'll see why in a second. We'll then deploy the king and 2 witches to funnel. We'll then deploy the rest of the troops to join the Grand Warden and the queen. And yes, we did have a few Cocoa Loons to go and test for the Seeking Air Mines as well, protect the healers. To come to the center of the base, we're going to jump into the core to guide the troops through, and at this point I probably should have used the Grand Warden's ability, but now that the eagle is going down, I'm just going to save that for the town hall. And now since there is not much use for these super wall breakers left, just to get the king to get a little more worth out of him, we're going to break him into this bottom compartment, which I brought 4, which might be a little too much. Maybe 3 is a better option, but I like to make sure that whatever base we're attacking, we're going to get good access. And we have a few ice combs left along with the Grand Warden and Queen, and at this point it looks like all the Super Valkyries have died, which seems like Queen still has her ability, possibly plenty of power. Even if that does get used, the ice golems have tanked these defenses pretty well. I'll use that ability on the world champion, otherwise it would be forced anyway. We should still make it. I'm not sure they'll have the time, even if they do have the power. The strength of this seems pretty decent considering we don't have a world champion, but this base was not necessarily maxed either, and this is a time fail. We're next going to want to try out Flameflinger to see if somehow that is a better option. We again are going to deploy the Grand Warden first with 3 healers. Now we're going to zap quake these expos to get the damage off and support funneling. And now that the Warden is tanking that mortar, we're going to deploy the Flameflinger. Mortar and expos are the only thing that can target the Flameflinger. You might want to watch for ground skellies too, because it cannot defend against them. Now going to deploy a super wall breaker here to pre-wall break for the remaining troops. I really wanted to get a sound funnel on this though, and we're going to deploy the queen to hurry up with those ground skellies, and I'm cutting it a little close on time here. Now that 1 minute has passed, we're going to deploy the 2 ice golems, P.E.K.K.A, and the remaining super Valkyries, which again we have the king and the 2 witches funneling that top side. And since we had a wall breaker that failed, we're going to use another super wall breaker. We have 4, which is good in this scenario. We're then going to jump into the core of the base. I might have done that a little bit late, so these super Valkyries are trying to get outside of the base, and it looks like the super Valkyries will turn around. We did have one that died, which is that rage ability over there. The king is going pretty strong with those witches, which are protected. They're even taking out that expo. Now the Flameflinger has popped at this point, which now the Hog Riders are coming out to help reinforce even more funneling, and it seems like this one's going pretty good. We still have a lot of condensed troops, which in this case with the healers healing them all breeds optimum power, which goes to show how much funneling in regard to this attack is important. The witches are still have gone all the way to the back of the base. Now everything breaks out of the base, and we just have mostly storages left, but as long as we have time, which hopefully pretty sure we will, especially with this queen's ability, we should be able to get the 3-star. I'll use that queen ability. Might have saved it for better time, but with 25 seconds we should have it. So it seems like the most important thing you're going to want to remember to get that funnel down, and the siege barracks or the Flamethrower can really assist with that, so you might want to consider that when you pick your siege machines. Now for the next week, we're going to cover a different ZAP spell attack strategy per day, and if you like this video, please like, and see ya.